From the pages of WWF magazine, December 1993, we dive headfirst into a world caught between the past and the future. Hulkamania was gone, the Attitude Era was still a whisper on the horizon, and in between stood a bizarre, colorful, transitional period known as the New Generation. This issue arrives in the thick of it, festive, frantic, and trying desperately to figure out what comes next. Razor Ramon, the bad guy, glares at us from the cover, draped in gold chains and arrogance. The headline, oh, how long can he hold the belt? No. But this isn't just about Razor. It's a question aimed at the whole roster. How long can anyone stay on top in this chaotic new landscape? The issue opens with a heavy push toward the Survivor Series, WWF's Thanksgiving Classic of Team Warfare. And this year's event promises absolute anarchy. Tag teams implode, oddball alliances form, and Doink the Clown is at the center of it all. His feud with Bam Bam Bigelow has become something out of a surreal nightmare, with Doink no longer content to just play tricks. He's now toying with the very idea of morality. The magazine even hints that Doink may be turning face, as fans begin cheering for the misfit clown. In a federation where heroes and villains constantly shift, this is a major twist. Then comes the Raw Tag Team recap of Barry Horowitz and the 1-2-3 Kid almost shocking the world by beating the Quebecers. Barry, the eternal loser, actually puts in work, and Kid Star continues to rise as the fearless underdog. The match ends in chaos, but the message is clear. Momentum matters. And speaking of chaos, let's talk about Atom Bomb. The article says he's depressed because the 3 Mile Island reactor has shut down, meaning he's lost his radioactive power source. Yes, that is the storyline. Only in WWF could nuclear deactivation be a threat to a wrestler's career. The writers treat it dead serious. Bomb sulks. He stews. And he vows to find a new source of power as though he's a Marvel villain waiting for an origin reboot. And then we get something even stranger, a speculative article asking, what would happen if The Undertaker were cloned? Would the two takers fight for control of the urn? And would Paul Bearer choose a side? Could the darkness contain them both? It's speculative fiction mixed with gothic wrestling mythology, and it's incredible. A full year before the infamous Undertaker versus Undertaker match at SummerSlam, this article calls it shot. It's spooky, it's bold, it's exactly the kind of weird brilliance this magazine excelled at. Lex Luger's transformation from narcissist to patriot gets a multi-page spread. He's now the face of Americana, the man who body-slammed Yokozuna on the USS Intrepid and drives around the country on the Lex Express. But underneath the muscle and flags, Lex is portrayed as a man still unsure of his place. Can he really carry the company? Can he be more than a corporate poster boy? The article tries to paint him as WWF's next great hero, but there's hesitation in the subtext. Bret Hart still looms. The fans cheer, but they don't roar. Lex may wear red, white, and blue, but the crown still feels borrowed. And the magazine does something few expected. It acknowledges the outside world. Smoky Mountain Wrestling gets a full profile, with Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express throwing down a challenge, and he says they'll take on the Heavenly Bodies at Survivor Series, then go after the WWF Tag Team titles. The feature also name checks Tracy Smothers, Dirty White Boy, and Killer Kyle, letting readers know there's a whole ecosystem of wrestling beyond Titan Towers. For a company that rarely breaks its own kayfabe, this is huge. It's a nod of respect and maybe even a quiet warning. The world is bigger than the WWF. The Brainbusters trivia quiz follows. 10 deep-cut questions meant to test your knowledge of managers, tag teams, hometowns, and finishing moves. No Google, no Wikipedia, just memory and obsession. If you missed more than 3, you hung your head in shame at school the next day. If you got them all right, you were a legend. This quiz was as serious as a main event. Then we reach the shopping section, and the nostalgia hits like a flying elbow. T-shirts, posters, teddy bears, and foam title belts explode in full color. There's a plush Macho Man with fringe, a Shawn Michaels Heartbreaker tee, a Razor Ramon slick back tank top, and Bret Hart shades with carrying case, You can even order foam replicas of the WWF Championship, the Intercontinental title, and the tag team belts. The ad copy promises power, glory, and championship vibes, all for under $20. For a kid in 1993, this wasn't merchandise, it was magic. Owning this gear meant you weren't just watching wrestling, you lived it. Then comes the Hammer, a feature on Ludwig Borga. Cold, calculated, finish, dangerous. Borga isn't just a heel. He's a one-man crusade against the very idea of America. He mocks Luger. He mocks the fans. He mocks the entire country. Americans are a mix of too many things, he says. They've forgotten who they are. The magazine portrays him as part boxer, part philosopher, all villain. He didn't take bribes. He didn't pose. He just destroyed. Borga versus Luger is framed not just as a match, but as a metaphor. Can American pride stand up to European contempt? And what if it can't? The final pages recap house shows from Buffalo, New Haven, and Syracuse. The matches are wild, the finish is chaotic, and the fans rowdy. There are updates on upcoming Survivor Series teams and teasers of new rivalries forming. There's also a last page subscription push complete with bonus posters and VHS tape offers. It's more than a call to action. It's an invitation into a world of pile drivers, promos, pranks, and pageantry. This issue of WWF magazine wasn't just another stop on the newsstand. It was a full-throttle snapshot of a company rewriting its DNA. From Razor's golden sneer to Doink's dark redemption, to the fallout of Atom Bomb, the cloning of The Undertaker, and the sinister poetry of Ludwig Borga, this was more than content. It was canon. A living, breathing archive of a wrestling era in motion. And for those of us who lived it, who circled items in the merchandise section, who memorized Brainbusters quizzes, who turned every foam belt into a dream come true, it was everything. So if this brought back even one memory of reading with a flashlight under the covers, of quoting promos on the playground, of believing every word in every feud, then hit that like button, share it with your crew, and subscribe to the channel. Because whether you were watching the Lex Express roll by or wondering which Undertaker was real, these were the stories that raised us. These were the legends that shaped us. And this is why we keep going. From the pages.